Welcome, I'm John Glanville and this is video 43 in my Calmness in Mind series where we explore sensible solutions for your calmer life. Now I've called this video Placebo is your new best friend, and I'd like to share with you how to practically use placebo to expand your calmness, optimism and trust. Plus I'd like to teach you one of the most potent meditation routines that I know that will enable you to shift negative emotions or trapped trauma out of your body. And though so far through this course I've talked a lot about placebo, it's my experience that only a few people consciously engage or even glimpse its true power. So I'd like to ask you to allow me to drill down into more detail and to explore examples of how you may benefit from this incredibly effective mindset that we were never taught to use to our significant advantage. So if I were to describe what placebo means to me, I would say it sounds something like this. It is the ability of the conscious mind to trick the unconscious mind into believing something is true or has happened, even if it's not true or hasn't happened, whereby this thought or action initiates an internal transmission, be that biological, physical, chemical, emotional, or energetic, which influences the body as a whole system to react in some positively measurable manner. Or if that conscious suggestion is negative, the same process is initiated, but with adverse outcomes. And in that scenario, we call it nocebo, which is the opposite of placebo, yet still as effective. So I'm not interested in going into all the thousands of studies that prove that placebo works. I'll leave that to you to do your own research. But I would like to guide you and tell you that it's a fascinating topic, it's a game changer, and it's something that I use all day long, every day, on myself, and with those around me, because it's so effective. And the bottom line is, as nonsensical and illogical as it may seem, the effects of placebo in your mind and body can bring about changes between 20 to 50% effective, depending on how that message is consciously delivered to your unconscious mind. And what I'm asking you to do is to just trust me. Don't ask why it works. Just accept that it does work and then apply it to your life without having to go down the doubtful, anxiety-driven rabbit hole of having to understand why something works before you take action, which of course is a procrastination trap, as I mentioned in video 31. Now, we've all seen a trusted hypnotist suggest something to a person whose senses and bodily responses immediately respond as if those suggestions were true. Like eating a potato but being told that it was an onion. And they respond mentally and bodily to that suggestion. And one word for that reaction is hypnosis. But another word for that reaction is placebo. And it's so amazing and it's so powerful that it's almost unbelievable, though it's true and it's totally provable that it works. Therefore, if the hypnotist can do something as profound as completely tricking a person's brain and body, what if we could learn to do the same things to ourselves? I think the reason placebo or hypnosis works is simply because our senses are clumsy. They're clumsy and they're easily fooled, as I detailed in video 17. Our senses are not the truth of anything. They are just signals our brain receives and then interprets into a guess of what might be happening to you. Remember what I said way back when I said we're not looking out of our eyes. Light is coming into our eyes, and an area at the back of our head creates a virtual reality image of what that light is reflected from. That image is then revised for our preferences, our beliefs, and our reticular activating system's programmed preferences, and we foolishly think that we are observing the truth of any situation, when in reality it's just our detached virtual reality, ego-driven, photoshopped story of that situation. Plus, our body automatically responds emotionally to what we see in the image behind our eyes because it believes it to be true. I might suggest that you jump back and rewatch video 17 to remind yourself how easy it is for our senses to be misled, to be tricked. And at one level, we experience those deceptions every night because our dreams feel real, though they are just films that are running on our mind screen. So if a trusted hypnotist tells a suggestible person, you won't be able to see that scar on your face anymore, and if the unconscious mind takes that suggestion on board, it may stop adding that feature to the virtual reality image it creates in the brain. Therefore, as your mind is not obsessing about that scar, and the RAES is giving it less relevance, its prominence within the virtual reality image in the brain that the brain produces, when you look in the mirror, will subside, which may allow you to increase your self-confidence. And that's why running a new conscious and loving story is so powerfully effective each time you see your reflection in the mirror to overwrite any old negative stories. Equally, a trusted doctor might say, well done, you're healing nicely, and there's nothing else to worry about. And therefore your unconscious mind might stop worrying, regardless of the truth of his statement, yet influenced by the degree that you believe him. Or you might say, the degree that you trust him rather than doubt him will be the degree that your unconscious mind will stop questioning everything, and your body might be tricked into new chemical behaviors influencing different biological responses. And this is why how we consciously talk about ourselves to others or to ourselves does matter, as the unconscious mind will grab onto those suggestions regardless of their truth and act out the subsequent stories they allude to, which will affect our chemistry, our actions, and our memories. And here's what I need you to understand. We are all suggestible. Okay? Though those with more complex anxiety or OCD are currently more biased to believe the negative stories that their anxious and doubting condition suggests to their conscious mind, which we call nocebo, rather than using the conscious mind to suggest more positive and trusting stories to reprogram the unconscious mind, which we call placebo. Both paths are 20 to 50% effective in affecting the outcomes of the body, but have the hugely opposing emotional outcomes. How can I explain this differently? In many bank robbery films, the villains, they hack into the CCTV cameras and they run a loop of film showing the bank vault door locked. So the security guards are tricked into feeling safe, whilst in reality, the villains have blown the door open and are finally accessing all the hidden documents. But this is exactly what we can do consciously to our own unconscious mind. We can deceive it with new audio messages, with new visual perspectives, and by consciously controlling the body to behave in new ways, we can further trick the brain into rewiring itself. Now, this is what media organizations, governments, TV programs and advertising companies have been doing to us all of our lives. That's why they spend millions of pounds each year telling us the same thing over and over again and alienating anyone who opposes those messages. Our brains were always and continue to be conditioned with the messages that they wish us to believe are true, because with enough repetition or hypnosis or placebo or whatever label you wish to use, our unconscious brains do adopt those stories no matter how clever we are, unless we are working twice as hard to reprogram ourselves in the ways that we would like them to go.